From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles. It pretty much, man, it was a pretty good weekend. Lakers on their way to the Western Conference Finals. Nuggets will be a very tough opponent, but I'll talk about that in a moment. Is the Warriors dynasty over? We'll get to that in a moment. Also, Monty Williams canned. We'll get to that in a moment as well, too. But let's start the show off with what happened yesterday. Great Sunday afternoon. And once again, happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers out there who are here with us and the mothers that aren't with us anymore as well, too. So I know Mother's Day is kind of it's a beautiful day, but for some people it is a bittersweet day as well, too. And we do have to recognize that part as well, too. But everybody loves their mother, so it is what it is. Even if she embarrasses the hell out of you everywhere you go, it's all good. She's still your mother, as they always like to say. So pretty much with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. Celtics win game 7 led by Tatum's 51-point outburst to beat the 76ers 112-88, headed to the 5th ECF in the last 7 years. And this is all in the Jalen tenure and all that good stuff that these guys have been going to the finals. So this is an amazing feat for this team as well moving forward. But it was an amazing game for Jason Tatum, who had a lot of doubters in game 6 because for some odd reason, everybody felt like he needed to be this Superman, super basketball player that led his team to victory. He had, I think, 3 points going into the 3 points going into the fourth quarter of game 6. He wound up outscoring the Philadelphia 76ers in the quarter 16-13. So pretty much that nipped anything in the bud about superstar status, superstar talk, all that good stuff. Jason Tatum absolutely took over the last 5 quarters of this series, okay? He had 25 points in the first half yesterday as well, too, and wound up with 51 in overall. This was an incredible 51 points because the way that he went about his business is scoring this 51 as well, too. Lots of mid-range jump shots, lots of great break-off moves to layups to the hoop, all that good stuff. So he did everything that you needed to do to win this basketball game yesterday, and he did exactly what the primetime players do. They step it up to a whole nother level. He went 17 for 28 yesterday. So he made a lot of shots, and he shot 60% from the three-point line, shooting 6 for 10 from the three-point line, and made 11 of 14 three-pointers. He also had a plus 33. Absolutely incredible game from Jason Tatum. But also you got 25 chipped in from Jaylen Brown, and literally that's all you needed to win this game. And, Brogdon got his little 12 off the bench, but that's all they needed. That's all they needed yesterday, and Al Horford was huge with the 10 rebounds that he had yesterday. Tatum had 13 rebounds himself. So it was just a great performance. When you look at the numbers of what happened yesterday, you have Boston out rebounding the 76ers by 6. That's a surprise there because you would have expected Embiid to be the man yesterday because that's what type of game this calls for. Everything else was kind of even, but they did force 7 steals as well too, and that helped them force 12 turnovers as well to the 7 that they had. They shot 15 to 18 from the free throw line, but the significant difference was the way that the Celtics hit that 3. The Celtics went 15 of 33 from the three-point line yesterday. That's absolutely incredible. 45.5% mark from that portion. But when you look at the 76ers yesterday, it was just the absolute. Where were you guys? You had Tobias Harris lead all scorers with 19. He hadn't had a really good game all series except for game 5. So pretty much he had a really good game that day, yesterday. You know what I mean? But was in single digits 3 times in this series. So he was kind of, to me, an enigma in this series. But he did step it up big in the game 5 win. He stepped it up big in the game 1 win. And then he led all scorers here in the game 7 win. But he didn't get what he needed to get here. You know what I mean? He had 19 points. Then the second most points behind him was Tyrese Maxey with 17, who's been good in the last few games. He scored 30 in game 5, 26 in the game prior to that. His 17 was somewhat, that's a luxury. That's a big help. And then you had Embiid with 15, and that's just unthinkable. Embiid had to have the same type of game Tatum had. Might not need to score 50 points, but you got to be great. You got to be 35 or better. He got 15 points and 8 rebounds. That's it. And 4 turnovers. It was not good. PJ Tucker, 11 points. That's pretty good for a guy like PJ Tucker. Okay, PJ Tucker. But the biggest disappointment that I have on this box score that I'm looking at, that this is just a really, really bad idea to continue with this guy. I think that Harden just needs to get out of Philadelphia. It's that simple. I don't know he just might be done for his NBA career. He had 9 points, 1 of 5 from 3, 3 of 11 from the field. Just absolutely dreadful. Guys who say that they're former MVPs, all this good stuff, can't have guys like DeAnthony Melton shooting as many shots as them. DeAnthony Melton went 3 for 10 yesterday. He had 7 points. This is an absolute shame, in my opinion. I think that James Harden, I'm a James Harden apologist. I was one of the people that was like, he's going to cook people in game 1 because you guys forgot who he was. But the thing is, though, I don't know if the guy's spirit is there anymore, to be honest with you. I think that he's very comfortable in all the goals that he was able to achieve in the NBA. And that was winning an MVP, being all NBA first team multiple times, being a decade-long all-star as well, too. So what else does he want to do? You know what I mean? Oh, he's been to the finals. You know what I mean? He went to the finals early in his career. Even though he didn't win a championship, he still went to the finals. So there's just a lot of things that you look at and you say to yourself, this guy might be comfortable with his basketball life. And I think that he's really into his next career. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So James Harden got a lot of decision making to make this summer. I think that possibly he does wind up retiring. You know what I mean? But, there will be some suitors there for him. But I would say that I think it's over with. I think it's a wrap, to be honest with you. What more can he prove? And you don't want to go out like this. You truly don't. You don't want to go out like this because I know we love Derrick Rose, but it's sad. Keep it real. It's sad compared to like what LeBron's doing right now, that Derrick Rose is just on the New York Knicks bench being a celebrity. Like, seriously, like that's sad. It's sad. So let's move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next. But that's all I had to say. And the Celtics, great win. They're moving on to play the Heat. We're going to have more about that tomorrow. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. We will be previewing and breaking down both teams and why this was the correct and why it's the correct Eastern Conference final as well, too. So let's go ahead and move into our next topic. And it is going to be this. Is the Warriors dynasty done, or can they bounce back after playoff exit? I felt like it was the end of a movie. You know what I mean? Like the end of a really good movie. You know what I mean? Like the trilogy. You know what I mean? It was like the final installment. Like you got the big championship, then you got the big the big moment where you lost, then you got your revenge twice, then you had to take some time off, found yourself back. Now we got to the third and final movie where everything just makes sense and that it's just over with. Maybe it's not like a movie. Maybe it was like a TV show that you just knew that at the end of the day that the person that had to save the day was the team with the 17 championships, because all in all, the Warriors' run was something that they did not want to let go. And, the more and more you looked at the series, the more and more you knew the Lakers were the better team here. And I just truly feel that the Warriors really lost their dynasty a few years back when they missed the playoffs and lost 65 games. You know what I mean? You can't say that you're still a dynasty after that happens, because you literally had to rebuild the whole team. And they've won one championship since doing all of that. They had 3 years of futurity where they were just absolutely dreadful. You know what I mean? Where after they won the NBA, after they lost the NBA Finals in 2019, they were trash in 2020. They were trash in 2021. They came back. They won an NBA championship last year, despite the NBA being kind of off, because they took advantage of a good young group of teams, you know what I mean, that really didn't have what it took to beat them. Bragging and beating the Blazers isn't much of anything. So really, in the all just the things, everything for this team was from 2015 to 2019, in my opinion. And they got kind of like a charity ring, in a sense. They got a ring that they weren't supposed to win. I promise you, Boston really was supposed to win that ring. Boston did everything they were supposed to do to win that ring. They just didn't get it home. So I think that the Warriors were probably the best story the NBA could have in the last 20 years, because they weren't the biggest market. They weren't the most popular team when they were doing this. And they pretty much built their team up the way that a successful team from the 80s or 90s would build their team up. Not because the way the players are, but because the way that they graded their players. They went after players that actually had real experience in college basketball. Steph Curry was a college superstar. Klay Thompson was a college superstar. Draymond Green, I dog him out. I say a lot of things about him, but he was a college superstar as well too. Same thing goes with Jordan Poole. These guys did not spend 1 year in college. They stuck around 3-4 years in school. So they understood the team aspect, the team chemistry, building, things of that nature. So everything worked out perfectly. But the person that put him over the top was Steve Kerr, because they had been built up by Mark Jackson. But the person that put them over the top and taught them how to actually win in this league and sustain winning in this league was Steve Kerr. And I think that everybody fit everybody here. And if they went elsewhere, it wouldn't be the same at all for the Warriors or for any of these Warrior players or coaches or anything. So I would say that this has been one of the better units of all time. And this is coming from somebody who absolutely despised this team. But when I looked at everything in the spectrum in the realm of things, this run is one of the best that we've ever seen, because they literally did it their way. They didn't have to conform. They didn't have to do it a certain way. They did it their way. And that's something that you can't commend at the end of the day. But they did make a lot of mistakes here in these last few years to me. They didn't address the situation correctly with Jordan Poole. They looked at it that Jordan Poole was going to be the future play. Klay Thompson wasn't going to be around anymore. You know what I mean? That Klay Thompson's days were marked with the Warriors, and I felt like they felt like they were doing a little bit of charity for him, because they didn't want to get backlash from the fans. They wanted to figure out how can we phase Klay out. So when they figured out they couldn't phase Klay out, it was too late, because they had already spent all the money on Poole. So now you get yourself stuck in a situation. I feel like the Warriors wanted to hold on to everybody, and that was the biggest problem. And they didn't hold on to the right people, like James Wiseman, who would have been absolutely incredible in this series. You held on to Kevin Looney. It's okay. Kevin Looney's a better rebounder, better defender, but you could have built all these things with Wiseman. And then Jordan Poole, you could have gave yourself the confidence to say, if I'm going to pay him $140 million, we got to move on from Klay. But you didn't want to do any of that. You wanted to have what they call super teams. And what happened was the super team kind of blew up in your face, because Guys aren't going to stay healthy. Guys aren't going to get along. And that's just simply what happened with the Warriors. And nobody's going to win any NBA title winning 13 games or winning 13 out of 41 games on the road. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It don't matter who you are. So did the Warriors regress badly this season? Yes, they did. Did anybody want to admit that they did? No, they did not. But that's because they got too much love for the Warriors. They didn't want to see the Warriors fall off, but it was only a matter of time. So it is what it is at the end of the day. You wish it would have went better for them, but it didn't. The Lakers went ahead, stepped it up. They stepped in when it was time to, and they went ahead and they ended it. And that's exactly what you was supposed to do. I felt like the beginning of the end of the dynasty was Toronto beating them. But this right here was taking the Excalibur sword and literally putting the Warriors' head on the stake and removing it. Now the Warriors really do have to go ahead and figure out exactly what they're going to do this summer. And I would say this, they keep saying they're not going to break up the band. But there's no, every time they say they're not going to break up the band gets broken up. So the only person I can say that's safe on that roster right now, moving forward, I can say 3 names. Curry, I would say Kuminga, and DiVincenzo. Yeah, I know you guys like DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo was the only person that came to help Steph, and nobody even mentioned that, but he's the only person that came to help Steph in Game 6. He had 16 points, and DiVincenzo is just kind of like one of those guys that you just can't get rid of like that. He has kind of that Austin Reeves Caruso effect to him a bit. So it is what it is. We move forward. I spent too much time on that topic as well, too. So let's go ahead and talk about Monty Williams getting fired. And we don't have to talk about this too long. Monty Williams getting fired was absolutely a joke. It just shows how much of a joke this new owner is. I already don't like the guy. The guy wanted to hold up the game against the Nuggets, hold the ball. He hangs out with Isaiah Thomas, one of the worst executives in NBA history. Pretty much giving him advice on how to run a team. So the first thing he does is say, fire the coach. And pretty much they go ahead and fire the coach. Guess what? I wouldn't be surprised if Isaiah Thomas becomes the Phoenix Suns' next head coach, next general manager, or some type of person that has some type of say over this team. And if that happens, everybody run for the hills because it's just going to get bad from there. So pretty much what I saw with Monty Williams was an owner that has no patience. He went ahead and let the talking heads talk him into getting rid of a great coach. And I think that he went with the trend of what they're doing to coaches right now as well, too, that fall short. Let's look at it like this. It all started with Dwayne Casey getting fired by the Toronto Raptors in the midst of him winning Coach of the Year and them having the best record in the NBA, I guess, at that time. And then you got Nick Nurse, who won a championship back in 2019. We just got done talking about how it was the beginning of the end of the Warriors dynasty. He was a part of that, but, he had Kawhi Leonard as well, too. So he had that. But I still think Nick Nurse is a hell of a coach. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if he had Kawhi or not. He did a hell of a job. That's really that simple. Then Budenholzer, are you really surprised? Budenholzer got fired from Atlanta after they lost to LeBron in the mid-season the next year after they lost to LeBron. So Budenholzer blowing that against the Bucks, you kind of understand why they got rid of Budenholzer in a sense, because it just happened way too many times. It happened twice against the Heat. It happened in the bubble, and then it happened this year. So it's like, dude, get it together. But I think it's a little bit more than that. I think they have more of a real issue going on in that front office. And then the next coach is Monty Williams, who they got rid of. And I just really feel like they're making coaches a little bit more expendable because you're winning basketball games now, but then you start demanding, you have to figure out who's the problem. And it's really never the coach who's the problem, but you have to go ahead and appease the players because they're the ones making the suggestions. And so if you got guys who are high-paid players, what they're usually going to do is they're going to have some type of say in these coaches getting fired. And I think that what happened here is that KD just didn't want to play for the guy. And I think they just knew that we got to get in a new voice here because we have a team that really needs to have a championship-minded coach. But one thing about Monty Williams is he's a coach that thinks about winning a lot, and he did change the culture here in Phoenix. Phoenix was a terrible team before he got here. He wound up going undefeated in the bubble, but it was too bad for them because they were literally almost mathematically out. They just let him play in the bubble because they needed bodies in the bubble, but they wound up impressing everybody in the bubble, going 8-0 and then going home. And then you had the next season where they absolutely were incredible. Even though it was a pandemic, even though it was still kind of a rough situation with the pandemic and everything like that, they wound up making the NBA Finals, and they had a magnificent record. They wound up winning 57 games that year. Then they came back around and won 67 the next season, and then lose in the second round by 30, and then come back this year. And it probably was the worst year he had win-loss wise, but they still won 45 games and made the playoffs. But it was a tough year for the Western Conference in general. So they still made the playoffs, and he made the second round. But what you did, though, you took half of his team. You took the core guys who actually play defense and offense in Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson, and that really threw things off. And then you kept the guy there that didn't get along with the coach in DeAndre Ayton. So there was things that they made big mistakes on, and I think that they used the coach as the scapegoat to excuse the bad moves by the general manager. And that's usually what happens because the coach is going to trust the general manager more than the owner is going to always kind of side with the general manager and not with the coach. You know what I mean? Because the general manager has the analytical people. He has all the people in place that are showing him that this is going to work. You know what I mean? Or this isn't going to work. And so pretty much what they want to do is they want to make sure that they got a coach that coaches off the analytics. I don't even have to be there to know that. But they pretty much want to make sure they have a coach that coaches off analytics and that really does follow what they want him to do. So pretty much with that, the Suns have fired their coach. They now have to find another coach. And I would say this, the best option for them right now is to take their time. Don't just rush and hire a coach just to rush and hire a coach. I would say this, you should go ahead and hire a guy that you know has some real championship experience, has been around a lot of really great players in this league, and knows how to push the right buttons to get teams to exactly where they need to be. And I would say the best candidate for this situation right here, off the top of my head, would be you guys are going to kind of trip out and be like, no, Frank Vogel. Yeah, Frank Vogel, I think coming off the situation that he's just had in Los Angeles with LeBron and AD, and then him having the frustrating situation that went along with Westbrook, I think that with a little bit lesser pressure and with better players, chemistry wise, it could work for Vogel. So Vogel should be brought in at least for an interview, in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Let's go ahead and jump into our last topic before our commercial break, and that's going to be the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers are headed to the Western Conference Finals to play the number one seed Denver Nuggets. The Lakers have made history, the first ever 7 seed to make it to the conference finals as well. Lakers had themselves a 21-point blowout over the Warriors. They were able to beat the Warriors 3 times in Los Angeles. That propelled them to this win in the series because they stole game 1. The Lakers are following the mantra that I keep preaching: just win your home games. It's still a road game. That's all you need to do to move forward to advance in these playoffs. The Lakers were absolutely incredible Friday night, led by LeBron James, who had 39-9, but also they had some big moments from D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and they had a great emotional, spirited effort from Dennis Schroeder, who started and got ejected, but Schroeder made his impact very felt. And just the emergence of Lonnie Walker. I was begging for Lonnie Walker. I was having my rants and everything like that after every Laker loss that we needed to have more Lonnie Walker in there. Darvin stop holding grudges, put the guy in the game, whatever he did to piss you off, get over it. And Darvin finally got over whatever was pissing him off and making him mad, and it's helped the Lakers tremendously. But by doing that, you had to put good guys like Troy Brown kind of out of the lineup. Malik Beasley's now out of the lineup somewhat as well too, but we are in the playoffs as well. So they are kind of like the same players. So that's why the Lakers are doing that. So it does get a little tough trying to move all those players in and out. But I would say that this series is going to be the toughest that the Lakers are going to it's only going to get tougher for the Lakers. You know what I mean? And I would say that the Grizzlies were a semi-tough series. I would say that the Warriors were probably going to be their easiest series out of everybody, because the thing is, they know the Warriors very well, and there is somewhat of a there was a revenge factor for LeBron there as well too, and for Anthony Davis as well, because Anthony Davis had some years where the Warriors embarrassed him in New Orleans as well too. So that worked out very much for the Lakers, but the Lakers had to do a job. They had to go ahead and end the Warriors dynasty. So that's exactly what they did. So that series was a little easier because the Lakers already had the advantage over that team, beating them 3 out of 4 times during the season, and actually those 3 wins were some of the Lakers' easiest wins of the season. So coming into this one against a tough Denver Nuggets team that gave the Lakers everything that they could possibly throw at them in their games is making this pretty fun. The Lakers and Nuggets are even on the season. And I'm telling you now, this is going to be a very good series, but there is a reason why the Nuggets are the favorite, because they are the better team. They have KCP, who's going to be the difference in everything, because he was on the Lakers in 2020, and he was the one that was giving guys like Murray and Monty headaches in the conference finals. This time, he's on the other side, and he's going to be there to give Austin Reeves and Lonnie Walker and Schroeder and D'Angelo Russell headaches now. So this is tough, and they add Aaron Gordon as well too, an element that they did not have and what they needed to possibly beat the Lakers. Now you got somebody who can actually match up with LeBron. And then you have the AD Jokic matchup. Jokic is years better, but we remember Jokic was being held by Dwight Howard most of the ECF series. Dwight Howard even started because of so he could stick Jokic. And Davis was having some real issues with Jokic. I'm not even going to front. Jokic was having his way with Anthony Davis, who's the best defender in basketball. But still, Jokic is the best mind in basketball right now. Even though LeBron got the best IQ, I would say the most aggressive mind in basketball is Jokic right now. So this is going to be a great chess match, and it's going to be a good old big man matchup that's just a la Bill Walton, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jack Simka. Jack Simka going against Hakeem Olajuwon, things like that. So pretty much it's going to be a great, great series between the Lakers and the Nuggets. We can get more into it, but the Lakers win was something that was very big. That was something that was incredible for the franchise, for the fan base, because it showed everybody that this team has no quitting it, and that this team really came a long way from being 2-10 to start the season. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to jump into Blue Crew Daily in the MLB Monday Night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. So let's go ahead and jump into the Blue Crew Daily. The Dodgers blessed all of us with the great Mother's Day victory yesterday, beating the Padres, sweeping the Padres 4-0, and they had their way. It was funny. They scored 4 runs each and every game against the Padres. They wound up outscoring the Padres 12-4 this weekend. And also, the Dodgers have taken 5 out of 6, as you can see here. And then they to start the season series with them. But also the Dodgers are 10-2 this month. And they are now, I'm not saying they're running away with the West now, but they are starting to get a little bit further along in their defense of the West Championship at this point, because they only have Arizona behind them right now. Arizona is actually 3 games behind them now. Arizona was actually 2 games ahead of them at one point. So the Dodgers have taken a whole big spin, a whole big 180 somewhat, because you got to understand at one point the Dodgers were what, like 7-8 or something like that. They're 26-15 now. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That tells you that the Dodgers have won 20 out of their last 27 games. You know what I mean? So pretty much they are just doing Dodger business as usual. And it is what it is at the end of the day, you know, and they've won their 6th series in a row as well, too, since losing back-to-back series to the Cubs and the Mets over a 6-game span. So pretty much the Dodgers have turned it on since that point. And if the Dodgers were to start the playoffs today, guess who's the number 1 team in the National League? The Dodgers. So pretty much the Dodgers have worked their way back into the mix, and they are ready to, you know, keep on churning. Tonight they got Noah Syndergaard on the mound going against the MVP, the Cy Young of the NL last year, and that's going to be Pablo Lopez. The Dodgers tried to get Pablo Lopez too. They really did try to get Pablo Lopez, but the Twins were asking for big pieces. They were asking for Outman. They were asking for possibly Vargas. They were also asking for Ryan Pepio. You know, like, why can't you guys just ask for, say, Chris Taylor or something? You know what I mean? Like, you know, why do you guys want all the good players? Like, why could you ask for Muncy? You know what I mean? Like, but all in all, the Dodgers did the right thing. You know, guys like Pablo Lopez, sometimes it's because of the situation that they're in. And we do really need to see if he's really that good of a pitcher, because he is coming from Miami. So when you come from Miami, a lot of times you're not going to translate that great pitching to the next team, because you're doing all this great pitching on a team that's really kind of into just developing players and not really winning games. So it is what it is at the end of it. So you pretty much are in a teaching session a lot of times with the Marlins. So we have to see exactly how good he is. But this is a good matchup tonight, because this does put together 2 of the best teams in baseball when it comes to leagues. You have the Twins, who are one of the best teams in the American League, and then you have the Dodgers, the number 1 team in the National League at this point. And, you know, you have a Twins team coming in here 23-18. They've done well. They have done well in their last 5, winning 4 of those games as well too. But they did start off the month dropping their first 5 out of 7. So they're just putting themselves back into position, and they're only 6-6 on the month. But if you look at their last 5, they've been really good. 4 out of 5 wins compared to losing their first 5 out of 7. So that's good. This team is picking it up, but they've had kind of an easy route as well too, except for the Padres series that they did go ahead and win. But then, they had the Cubs over the weekend. They beat them 2 out of 3. So, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and see exactly what this game is meant to be tonight. So it should be a lot of fun over at the stadium. The Dodgers just keep on churning, keep on doing what you're doing. It's not really tough. Thor, I know that they're evaluating him a little bit closer now to see if they truly need to keep starting him or possibly put him in a bullpen role, because it kind of reminds me of having David Price. David Price was starting at first too, and then he started to struggle a bit, and then we had to put him in the bullpen. I think that coming out the bullpen might be the best thing for Thor as we move forward into the future. But that just means that the Dodgers might need to have another starter ready to go as well too. I don't know when Walker Buehler's coming back this year. He's possibly coming back in August if he does come back this season. And then Ryan Pepio still getting prepared on the farm right now as well too. So there's just a lot of things that are keeping Thor in the starting rotation, but I don't see him staying in the starting rotation much longer if he doesn't pick up the pace a little bit, because he is starting to get a hit a little bit too much. So we'll see how it goes with that. So pretty much let's move forward and jump into MLB Monday Night. We have ourselves a good set of action tonight. We got 12 games going in the MLB tonight. A few teams got the day off. Also, the Mets and the Nats had to make up for what happened on Saturday. So they are playing today on which would have been an off day for both of those teams. So let's go ahead and jump into our first game, which is going to be the Angels and the Orioles. The Angels coming in here 21-20, and then you have the Orioles 26-14. Surprise, surprise, surprise. And that's absolutely incredible because, who was the only one on the Orioles? DiBiase, baby, because I told you guys exactly what was going to happen with this team. This team has actually won their last 4 out of 5 games. They did start off the month, though, in a little bit of a struggle. They had dropped. They wound up dropping their first 4 out of 7 games to start the month, but they won their last 4 out of 5. So they're looking pretty good right now. There's things working out in their favor as well too. So 7-5 on the month. They're not losing series either. They won their Kansas City series, lost the Atlanta series, and then won the Tampa Bay series. That was good. And they also won over the weekend against Pittsburgh, who now doesn't have one of the top records in the league, but they were the top team coming into the month of May out the National League. So, they've kind of fallen off a little bit because they've lost a lot of games here in the last few weeks, but they were able to win yesterday. Now, the Angels, on the other hand, the Angels are a team that they're not in the playoff race, but they could be in the playoff race if they want to be. And they're actually started off the month pretty good. They have won their first 4 games of the month. Since that point, though, they've lost the last 6 out of 8. So they're trying to right some wrongs and things of that nature. And when you look at the stats and everything going into the game tonight, you have some really good – you have Ohtani on the mound. So, Ohtani gives everybody a lot of confidence when he's on the mound. And he's got a 2.74 ERA this year, and he struck out 7 in his last game against Houston. So that should be pretty good right there. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Ohtani actually suffered his first loss of the season, but that's because he wasn't getting any runs. Now, Grayson Rodriguez, the phenomenal pitcher prospect that's up here now, who's considered the future ace of the Orioles, he's done pretty good. You know what I mean? Even though he gave up 6 runs against Kansas City, he was kind of laughable, but it is what it is. He had a little bit of a rough start in his first 3 games. Then he had 2 games back-to-back where he gave up no runs, but he only pitched 5 innings, but he struck out 15 and only walked 4 in that regard. In his last 2, though, he's striking out 7 and giving up 8 runs and he's giving up 15 hits. So he's kind of going through the motions a little bit here in his last few games, but I think that he's a guy. He'll pitch really well, and then he'll pitch then he has to get banged up a little bit. So this should be a really good game, but I really do feel like the Angels should be able to easily win this game. Even though the Orioles do have a great record this year at 26-14, I still think that the Angels should win this game today with Shohei on the mound. I think that he's going to have a great day pitching against the Orioles. All right, we got the Yankees and the Blue Jays. This is a good one right here. Yanks, it's kind of weird with the Yankees tonight. They got a lot of things going on. At first, it was going to be Johnny Brito pitching. Now it's Johnny Cordero pitching tonight, and he's going against Alec Monea. Now, Jimmy Cordero is a spot pitcher, so pretty much what he's going to do is pitch the first inning or 2, and then they're going to bring in the actual pitcher who's going to try to take over for about 5-6 innings. And if they're winning, then they'll have their closer in. But it looks like it's going to be a reliever day for the Yankees. Now, Alec Manoah, in his last start, struck out 1 and gave up 3 runs in 4 2/3. So tonight, when you look at this matchup, you have the Yankees and Jays both already played each other this year. This is their second series of the year. So they're trying to get this one. They're trying to get themselves all back into the mix. This is not. No, yes, it is their second series. And actually, Toronto did win the first series in New York. So they took the first 2 out of 3. The Yankees now are trying to get back on the good foot as well, too, because, the Yankees are in last place, surprisingly, right now. And, well, actually, sorry, Mike. The Red Sox have now entered the basement, and me and Mike had to talk about this. That's quite possibly was going to be their destination. They have entered the basement. Clear, yeah. Red Sox are in the basement now. The Yankees are half a game out of the basement right now, and the Yankees are 2 games behind Toronto. So they want to eat into this lead. So winning this series is huge for the Yankees as they try to move towards catching the Rays, because now they're 8 games behind the Rays after the Rays took the weekend series against them. So they're figuring out a way to try to catch these guys right now. So with that, I feel like the Yankees keep this game close tonight. So I like the Yankees with the +1.5. Let's see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. We move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next, and that's going to be this right here. It's going to be for the Cubs and the Astros. This is a good game. This used to be a good little fun rivalry situation when the Cubs and the Astros were in the NL together. They were West teams together, and they were Central teams together as well too. Actually, the Cubs were a West team. They were a West team. NL West order. No, they were an East team. I'm sorry, because they played the Padres in the 80s in the first championship series, I think, because we used to just do pennants. That used to be the best way to go in baseball. I know they had to have an American League and National League championship after a while, but I thought that possibly if you just won the pennant and you did all that shit to get you played 162 games and you was the best team in the situation, then your ass need to be the one going to the championship. You know what I mean? Because they used to just have it as one league. Then they broke it into divisions. You know what I mean? So 2 leagues, and then they started breaking them into divisions. So the Cubs and the Astros, we have on the mound for the Cubs today, you got the veteran James Townsend, who pitched for the Yankees last year, and he was somewhat seen as one of their better pitchers, but I still don't trust Tallien at all. You know what I mean? I just really don't trust the guy. And then you have the Astros, who were not playing the way that anybody wanted them to. It's funny because now look at the little Rangers, the team that I was trying to sell people in the AL West, they're now 25-15, but I don't know how long that's going to last. But they have outscored a lot of teams this year, and you got to understand they've done a lot of this without DeGrom pitching. You know what I mean? DeGrom's only pitched about 4 or 5 games for them, so they're still playing. They're playing really good baseball. But right now, I told you guys that the West was going to be a tough division this year. When you have everybody but the A's, they're only split up by 5 games right now. Okay, and so the Mariners, Angels, Astros, Rangers, all are going to be back and forth with each other all season long. It's just that the Rangers have set out the lead first. That's the whole thing. So pretty much Cubs, Astros tonight. I think what happens here is this is a game that absolutely favors the Astros because they have Valdez on the mound tonight, and Valdez is, to me, their best pitcher this season. Even though he has a losing record, he still goes out there and he eats up outs and he strikes guys out. It's that simple. So pretty much he is somebody that they do need a lot in this. They do need him tonight, though. They need him to be big tonight. That's the whole thing, and I think he will be big tonight. And the Cubs are struggling. Let's just keep it real. The Cubs coming into this one losers of their last 5 out of 7, and they kind of been whatever this month, to be honest with you. So they're 5-8, and they could be better, but they're not. The Astros, on the other hand, they've won their last 4 out of 5 games. They did kind of start off struggling, first 5 out of 7 that they lost. So they're doing much better now. They're 6-6 on the month. So that's good for the Astros as they try to get themselves back into the lead. So like I said before, I like the Astros with the -1.5. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be the Royals and the Padres. And this one right here is going to be a lot of fun. You got the Padres coming in here reeling a little bit. They've been getting absolutely beat up and down the aisle, in a sense, in my opinion. And they've lost their last they've actually lost their last 7 out of 8 games, to be exact. And this month they're actually only 4-8. So they're really going through it right now as we speak. So pretty much when it comes down to it, you have a team that hasn't won a series all month. So, they're trying to bounce back, get themselves back into the mix, but it's been tough. It's been tough, especially in these last 5 when they haven't scored more than 3 runs in a game. All right. And to keep it real with you, they've only been able to put out 10 runs. They've only been able to put out 10 runs compared to the 17 that compared to the 21 they've given up over this 5-game losing streak. Their best run output this month was 8 runs against Cincinnati earlier this month. So, this team is not playing up to the billing right now, in my opinion. So we got to see how it goes tonight. But this is going to be a tough game for the Padres because Michael Wacha is a good pitcher, but Michael Wacha does run into some issues with some of the teams that are not that good. You know what I mean? But, the worst game he had all year was against Milwaukee at home, and that's my thing. This guy gets a little beat up at home. Even though he did pretty well last time out against Cincinnati, he only gave 2 hits, struck out 3, and walked 2. But I think tonight that's going to be a little different because he's going against American League team. I really do like Brad Keller. Brad Keller took care of us in the last game against the White Sox. He struck out 4, walked 4, but only gave up a run in 5 innings. And then he kind of struggled against Oakland. They lost that game, but that's okay. But the game prior to that, he shut down Minnesota, and he only gave up 1 run. He walked 5, but he struck out 4 in that spot. So this is a very good, consistent pitcher, and I'm looking at the game that he played against the National League. He got a little roughed up by Arizona. They hit him with 4 runs in 4 innings. He struck out 2, walked 6 in that spot, but he absolutely ate up San Francisco, allowing them only 3 hits, 1 run, and he struck out 3 there, walked 3 there. So I truly do feel like this can be a very, very intriguing spot. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make the Royals our dog bet of the day. I know I've done this about 8-9 times this year, but y'all got to get used to it. The the Royals are one of the teams that stay being a big dog. Okay. And I'm only trying to chase dogs that are plus 120 or better, really plus 130 or better. So, because when I do plus 120, that's pretty much because I want to give you guys I feel like this is an absolute winner. You know what I mean? Because there ain't no way this team's supposed to be plus 120. But when I'm giving you out something like this, plus 190, which this is going to be, or plus 200, we're playing the value game and we're playing against the books, where you know that this is going to be an over bet for a lot of parlay players, to where they're going to take the best favorite of the day and have it in their group. They always think that it's going to be a slam dunk. It does not work like that. Michael Wacha is not a slam dunk pitcher. So I have to put the Royals in here as the winner, because Mitch Keller has done well for me when I've needed Mitch Keller. So it is what it is at the end of the day. So I do like the Royals as our dog bet of the day at plus 190. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Let's move forward from there. And up next is going to be one of the final games of the night, because the nightcap is actually the Dodgers and Twins. The Dodger game and Dodgers and Twins start at 7 o'clock tonight. And everybody else starts at 6:40 who's playing in the late spots. So you have a Phillies team coming in here. They got a little shell shock this weekend playing against the Rockies. It kind of didn't go the way that they assumed it was going to go. Because they didn't sweep, you know what I mean? But they did win 2 out of 3 here, and they had won 5 in a row before losing yesterday. So this team is actually 5-6 this month, because they dropped the first 5 games of the month, getting beat by the Dodgers, getting swept by the Dodgers, and that was pretty bad. And they pitched very well since that point, because their pitching was atrocious in Los Angeles. They wound up giving up 36 runs over a 3-game period, and then they also wound up only scoring 11 runs in the process. So they got outscored 36-11. So they're still getting used to Bryce Harper being back as well too. And yesterday they got shut out. So they're coming into this game today with the idea that, we got to bounce back. We got to get this one back as soon as we step in here. Not knowing they're going against the San Francisco team that's kind of going through the motions right now, who've lost their last 4 out of 5 games. But it seems like they always start off pretty good on Mondays at home, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing here. But they lost last Monday, though. They lost 5-1, but they've lost pretty much their last 6 out of 8 games, but they had won 4 in a row at 1.2. So right now they are 6-7 for this month, but you have to understand they haven't had a lot of time off either. I just called out 13 games. So the Giants have literally been playing every single day this month. So that's something that they have kind of in their fold, because it's just really tough. You know what I mean? A lot of you got to understand, some of these teams only get 3 times off a month, or maybe 4 times off a month, because Monday is usually a day off, Thursday is usually a day off, but that's not every single week. So, the Giants are kind of going through the gauntlet of playing a lot of games right now. So pretty much it is what it is at the end of the day. And Phillies Giants, I really do like the what do I like here? What do I like here? I like the I would say this. I like the damn it. Well, I'll have it in a second because it's on my talking tickets. So pretty much with that, we'll be right back. And we'll be right back. So pretty much you guys stay tuned. This is going to be the premier sports betting show. Sorry for the long pause, But I'll be back. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
Here we are. Let's jump into talking tickets, and I got to move quick too. So pretty much talking tickets today. We have ourselves up first, the pick six. As I said, Angels money line minus 130. Also the plus 1.5 to the Yanks, minus 140 at home. We're going to do the Astros at home today, minus 1.5 run line, plus 110. Then we have the Royals, our bet us dog better today. Also, you guys, if you do need a sports book, I do have my link right there, and then I do have my link on the Twitter when I do put up the dog better today. So you guys click on that. If you're a first-time deposit, please let me know, and I'm going to give you a month for free of exclusive client bets. So it's a win-win situation. You know what I mean? You can start cashing out right on the app or the website, and you'll have me for free for a month. All right, so we got that. Now we have the over 9 with the Phillies and the Giants, and then in the picture in the showdown at the Ravine tonight, we got the under 8.5 with the Twins and the Dodgers. All right, so let's go ahead and look into talking tickets. We have Hunter Green going over 5.5 strikeouts tonight. And I know Nephew likes this. This is something he will probably be all over tonight as well too. I think he probably does have that in his prize picks and everything like that. I got Hunter Green recording the win as well too at the plus 145. Also have Christian Walker hitting a home run tonight in that A's game at plus 500. Then I also have Mike Trout hitting a home run tonight in Baltimore at plus 330. And then I got Ohtani under 6.5 strikeouts tonight. I think they do win the game, but Ohtani's going to be a little economical tonight and get a lot of ground balls and outs that way, in my opinion. So there it is. That's going to be our show for today. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in as well, too. You guys are the absolute best. I'll be back tomorrow to talk some more NBA. And we're going to talk a little NFL tomorrow as well, too. We got a little NFL notes to talk about because we just had rookie camps and everything like that as well, too. So we got some things to talk about in that regard. And then we'll also get into some more baseball as well, too, tomorrow. So you guys stay tuned, as always, to the Premier Sports Betting Show. And we'll be back tomorrow at noon for sure. We'll be back at noon, I promise. So with that, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. The movement is moving. Bet with your head, not with your heart. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.